Ever wanted to explore space in a linear fashion following one of the most obscure and improbable heroes known to mankind? Well, you can in Space Quest, and I've played all of them. Is it worth it? Well, stick around and you'll find out. My name is Fortifier, and welcome to Series Slayer. When you think of PC games, especially definitive ones from the 80s, certain names come to mind. SimCity, Ultima, Maniac Mansion, each titles that were very popular and from companies that would stand the test of time to give us quality PC experiences. But one other company kicked ass during this time, Sierra. Now, we covered Sierra in episode 10 of the Ready Go Gaming Show, and if you want to deep dive into Sierra, Blizzard, and Davidson, then check that out. But hopping back to Sierra, it was created by Ken and Roberta Williams, who started with these high-resolution adventures. But the true power of Sierra came around in the late 80s, where they took their high-resolution adventures and made the jump to EGA and eventually VGA. Point and clicks were absolutely the shit, and I'm still a huge fan of them. When you think of people who did point and clicks right, look no further than Sierra. If you need a refresher on some of the games that Sierra created, look no further than Leisure Suit Larry, Softcore Porn Adventure, Phantasmagoria, tons of games with the word quest in there, like Police Quest, King's Quest, or even the topic of the video today, Space Quest. Also, all these Dr. Brain games, Torrance Passage, and a handful of other really awesome titles. But fair warning before we hop into this video, I have played all of these games and there will be spoilers, so if you want to enjoy these titles on your own time, I would suggest playing them on your own before watching this video. Ready? Let's go. Space Quest 1 was created in 1986 by two guys from Andromeda, aka Scott Murphy and Mark Crow, who saw success from King's Quest 2. In this game, we play as an unnamed protagonist, but the default was Roger Wilco. Roger Wilco would become the de facto name for the protagonist, and if you say anything else, you're fucking wrong. Grow up. Roger is a janitor on the spaceship Arcata, which holds this experimental device known as the Star Generator, which is loosely based on the Genesis device from Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. These assholes named Sarians come onto the ship and you have to escape. Once you escape, you find yourself dodging tons of enemies, ending up in Ulent's Flats, and eventually finding the Sarian ship where you sneak aboard and destroy the ship. You get awarded the Golden Mop and become a hero. Space Quest 1 is a really awesome game, but the issue is that it's very short, and that's one of the main tropes that you'll run into with these early Sierra titles. It's just the way that it is. Those EGA titles to me are pretty damn easy to beat once you understand Sierra's logic. Space Quest 2 is neat because it came with a comic book that bridged the gap after the events of Space Quest 1. In the comic, we learn that Sludge Vohal was the leader of the Sarian conflict, and because you spoiled his plans, he's really fucking pissed off at you. Anyway, Wilco is an established hero, but his bosses are assholes and move him to Xenon Orbital Station 4, where he becomes the head janitor, and also the only janitor. Vohal abducts Roger and you're put in the Labian labor mines. You escape, traverse the jungle, and eventually find your way into Vohal's control room, where you are miniaturized and cleverly invade his life support system and kill the villain once and for all. Once you do this, you escape on a capsule and enter cryosleep. Again, Space Quest 2 is a very short experience, but worry not, we're at that point in Sierra's history where they're going to start using enhanced engines, and with that, we're going to find some of the most memorable point-and-click adventures of the era. Space Quest 3: The Pirates of Pestilon was released in 1989 and starts off with Roger being sucked up by an automated garbage freighter. You travel all over the galaxy, all the while being chased by this robot called Arnold the Annihilator, which has a striking resemblance to Arnold Schwarzenegger, all because you had to steal a whistle in Space Quest 2. You eventually stumble upon a diner called Monolith Burger, and if you pay attention, you'll find an arcade game made by Scumsoft. In the credits, you'll see two guys from Andromeda with a subliminal message asking to be rescued from the Pirates of Pestilon, literally video game pirates. So you go to Pestilon, enter the Scumsoft building, and save the two guys before delivering them to Ken Williams and getting turned down for a janitorial job. Space Quest 3 was fun, but it was kind of cryptic. I really enjoyed it, and all the games up to this point, honestly, you can't go wrong by checking them out. Space Quest 4: Roger Wilco and the Time Rippers was perhaps one of the most ambitious ones. The key principle of this game is time travel, so you'll be traveling to a bunch of future Space Quest games, such as Space Quest 12, Vohal's Revenge, and Space Quest 10, Latex Babes of Estros. You also end up in Space Quest 1 just for a little moment, complete with a 256 EGA color palette. Honestly, you only spend about 10 minutes in Space Quest 4, but yeah, you travel around time to kill a reborn sludge Vohal, and there are tons of cameos, and this game accounted for 1.2 million sales towards Space Quest titles. Space Quest 4 is one of my favorite, hands down, but be made aware that in order to play this game, you have to have the manual or a scan of the manual, because the codes that you need to travel through time are found in there as a sort of copy protection, anti-piracy measure. So Pirates of Pestilon beware, or else you won't be able to enjoy this game. Space Quest V Roger Wilco The Next Mutation is where the series started to go downhill. Space Quest V, for whatever reason, yanked the voice acting and left the consumer with a shit ton of dialogue. Also, randomly enough, it's a heavy parody of many space movies of the time. For example, you start off in a flight sim that looks very similar to the Millennium Falcon, and then you enter StarCon Academy. You cheat on a test and get commanded the SCS Eureka, which looks like a gigantic vacuum cleaner. You're hunted by WD-40, the sister of Arnoid, who has the abilities of the Predator, so invisibility. You run into Cliffy, a parody of Scotty, while a fight breaks out, a reference to Star Trek, and then you get turned into a fly. Your whole job is to stop a mutagenic disease that's going across the galaxy. The problem I have with this is that, besides taking away the voice acting, is that they took Roger Wilco and made him a glorified hero and made him to just an average Joe, and I really didn't like that. It felt like they did him dirty. And the voice acting not being in there, as I mentioned before, just gives you endless walls of dialogue that are just unfortunate. Then we had the final entry, Space Quest 6, Roger Wilco in the Spinal Frontier. We start off with criminal proceedings that make zero sense, and Roger, who has saved the galaxy countless times, is nuked all the way back to being a second-class janitor aboard SCS Deep Ship 86. You run into Commander Kielbasa, who awards shore leave to everyone, and then you run into an old lady named Sharpay who wants to randomly kill Roger, but secretly is part of Project Immortality. Then you run into T-1000, which is a Blade Runner reference in her cyberspace, and yeah, it ends on a cliffhanger. This game sucks. And when I mean it sucks, I mean it sucks. I'm not a huge fan of it. It was just bad. It just wasn't good. It kind of felt really different. I mean, the themes of Space Quest 6 felt like a Space Quest game, but the process of the overall game was just dilapidated and slow and unfun. And it really sucks that they left us on a cliffhanger. And they did. They left us on a cliffhanger, which was kind of poop. I didn't like it at all. Now, there was supposed to be a number 7. It was going to be Space Quest 7 Return to the Roman numerals, because they started using the number 6, and I thought that was clever. But the big issue why it never came to be is that the competitor LucasArts had just released Grim Fandango, and Grim Fandango did not sell well, and because of that, Sierra kind of felt that the overall landscape of point-and-click adventures was kind of falling to the wayside, so it never came to fruition. So from all of these titles and these small, tiny adventures of Roger Wilco, we have to ask, is it worth it? Absolutely. We can't judge an entire franchise based on how it terminated without looking at the point A to point B on how we got there. Space Quest, for the most part, 85% of the games are an absolutely wonderful time. So in my opinion, the series is worth it, and you should definitely check it out. Anyway, if you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe to the channel and check out some of the other videos that we've worked on. As always, thanks for taking the time to watch this, and I'll see you on the other side.